Hey everyone, this is the Spiritual AF Podcast, and I'm your host, Judd Fink. On this podcast, you'll hear about my personal journey that led me on the path to spiritual growth, the journey of my guests, and the wisdom that we've gained along the way. It's important to me to put this podcast out in hopes that the stories contained in it resonate with the listener and assist people on their own path to healing and growth. I am deeply thankful to even have the opportunity to do this. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun, guys. So let's go. And thank you so much for listening. Hey, everyone. I'm Judd Fink, and this is Spiritual AF Podcast. I'm here with Sunshine Seaheals. And I actually met her through Purple Garden. I was getting a reading, and then we just very much connected. And it was great. And she is a native Southern Californian with a long line of artists and healers before her, who some never got to actualize it in this lifetime, and that's part of her purpose, to actualize it. And she's a wayshower, a light worker, an intuitive healer, has a background in natural healing arts, body and physical, what would you say?
Body, mind, psychology, yoga, Reiki.
Yeah, Reiki, yoga.
The whole healing spectrum.
The whole healing spectrum. Yeah, exactly. And she helps others redefine their soul to remember who they are, truly. And she's a creatrix and ultimately undefinable. And I believe that we are all undefinable because we're all in an evolution process, right? And
yes.
So, Sunshine, it's nice to have you here. So,
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. Thank you very much for being here. So, how would you define like the overall, your evolution process, the evolution process, and such things as that?
Yeah, beautiful. Nice question.
Yeah.
Good ones. I just remember, being as young as in elementary school and just being full of love and seeing other kids. And I think I was kind of a, intuitive back then, and just kind of picking up on it all and taking it all in. I wasn't from a typical type of a family. And when you said about the unactualized, I do believe my grandmother was a medicine woman. I was told by several mystics, even when I didn't want to know it, and they were coming to me saying that my grandmother and I were both Native American shaman, medicine women in another life. And that's definitely that. If it would be my superpower, it would be that. So I think, as you know, we come into this lifetime, we incarnate, and then we forget everything. We remember little bits of it, but we would be overwhelmed if we remembered every single lifetime, right?
Yeah.
So getting little tiny cliff notes, little clues, little tests, and it's kind of always the things that you kind of lean into more, the way that you like to dress and the music. And I was always about health, always about high vibe, about health and fitness, and I was always super ripped and fit and healthy. My mom, thank God, at that time was, really ahead of her time when she was always studying. There was a magazine at that time called Prevention. She was studying prevention, which would have all the latest, medical insights. And even that was mainstream, but it was kind of progressive for back then, because there just wasn't a whole lot of, daily rags that you could pick up that would talk about what, the FDA was doing, or the latest vitamin, or the latest treatment. Or she was always interested in that. She was interested in astrology. She was an artist. She was a cook, and I had a natural healing ability, and talented in so many different areas, really. And my grandmother as well. But generational curses. When people are born generationally, they didn't. It was just not acceptable. It wasn't commonplace. It wasn't supported. It wasn't. Yeah. But my grandma would be the first when anyone was sick, out of my grandmother, who had 7 children, and my mom, who birthed myself and 2 of my brothers, 3. So she had 4 she had 5 siblings and 6 siblings, excuse me, and then her parents. So it's a family of 9.
Mm-hmm.
And, they didn't have a whole lot. And my mom, even raising me, single mom at times, she didn't have a whole lot. But I always remember that she could cook a mean meal. And my daughters have always said to me, I have two daughters in college now, and I'm empty nester now, which is a whole nother thing, a whole nother realm. And this kind of goes back to the reason that they weren't actualized at that time, if you will.
Yeah.
But create healing food. They could make the house smell nice. They could come in and do aromatherapy and just do these things with flowers they picked, or just the food that they cooked with the love and the intention that they put in it.
Yeah.
And that is the medicine, and I like to think of it as alchemy and like a love potion, and how my grandmother would know remedies when that wasn't commonplace. And, maybe those were things that an Indian tribe might know. And my grandmother and I think, have that similarity, because I always had a natural affinity. And that's how I started, was really being into my fitness and my health and my nutrition and looking good and feeling good and being popular and fun and spastic and creative. And not doing too much schoolwork. I was like blessed in certain classes. I just excel. In other classes, I'd be like, I am not studying. This is so boring, and
oh yeah,
I was kind of a little valley girl, Southern California girl. So growing up around here, luckily got to spend a lot of time outdoors playing in nature and at the beach and things like that, in the ocean. And those were kind of my fantasy times. I would go out and I would play with nature. I would play with snails and lizards and frogs and, flowers. Lose myself for hours out in nature. I think it was probably the time when I could feel like myself, because like around others, I was always kind of watching them like, are they really saying that? Are they really doing that? Is their mom really letting them get away with that? Like, I was such a well-behaved, already an old soul, which when we talk about the Starseeds, which we're getting talked about, because I just found out today, so Pleiadian like myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like to call myself the Pleiadian from Leucadia, because Leucadia is here in Southern California. It's an adjacent city to me in Encinitas, in NC, where I live, Encinitas, California, San Diego. It's a sleepy little beach town. And when my parents originated across from Chicago, which is where you're living right now, Papa, met at a sock hop and decided to get married. And they drove across country in a little convertible Carmen Ghia, forest green, tan top, and ended up in a place called Oceanside, which if you come to San Diego, it's probably 10 minutes north of Encinitas, where I live now. But anyway, it was a militant town. They just liked the name. They were kind of fooled by the name. So they ended up going a little bit south, which is a town away from me, and ended up in Leucadia. So Starseed stuff, definitely feel like that's in my family, and definitely know that as the Starseeds, we sojourn, we soul sojourn, we travel. We're galactic travelers.
Yes.
And typically, one star galaxy, you're not just one. You kind of are dancing all over the place up there to different. You keep coming back because you're like, I have more evolution. So if we started in Egypt, and then here we are in 2024 with the age of Aquarius. Here we are again, kind of same work.
The Egypt connection, and I was going to mention too the shaman connection, because I think I mentioned that where I'm in the shaman class, and then even my teacher, and even visions that I've gotten in the past of like medicine man and all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so there's another connection there where it's just very natural, like just through lifetimes and the stuff that you remember, right? Like, well, we forget every damn thing, but then it's coming back to remembering it, correct?
Remembering, defining moments.
Yep.
And with the 80s, what I was going to say is I think I was an old soul, but you are a newer spirit. The Pleiadians are actually the newest. And that's why we remember more and why we're so fucking homesick.
Okay. And
believe that if I swear on here.
I've always felt like, even growing up, like I didn't. I mean, I've always gotten along with everybody, and get and never made like real enemies with anyone throughout my life. But it was just like me by myself, you know, like
Yeah.
um, like even around groups of friends and stuff like that. It was just, of course you get along and have connection with people, but it's always been like, okay, like I definitely think differently than what I mean, like um
Oh,
than everyone, you know. But it took a minute to get
and,
there. It took a
and the
minute.
majority.
Huh?
Then the majority for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, then the majority for sure. Like
Now
yeah,
let's go breach. Back then it was like, you're a little weird, but I like you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like been told, super intense and whatever. Like just because
Yes.
like of how when I do care about something, like I definitely go after it and how passionate I am about those things. I put a lot of energy into multiple things at one time, but I really give a shit about all of those things.
Yes, you do. And I preface that or say, I've seen you in a very, very short time stepping into your power, and it's limitless, and your divine masculine and your full potential. And it's been a joy because we did meet on the app, serendipitously, perfectly.
Yeah.
Reached out and we had a great convo, great call from the get-go, and we've been working together, really helping each other, if you will. The student becomes the teacher and the teacher is the student, and just helping each other to be the creatrix, the Merlins, the magicians, and the alchemists that we already are helping, holding the space for them.
So do you have any like, I know that for myself, even when I was going through like the hardest times, which actually were the greatest learning times in my life, where I don't even know that I'm doing it. I have no idea how it's defined as I'm doing it, right? But then I later found out like the alchemist is exactly what I was doing. The magician is exactly what I was doing. But it was all about it was all about my belief in myself, and I didn't even know what the hell that meant. And then I went back into times in my life where like, through sports or even the negative shit, where what would be considered negative, but it's all learning process, right? Like where even dealing drugs and like shit, I'm never getting caught. Like I know I'm never, like I know how to deal with this. You know what I mean? Like even though like with the hypervigilance and the super super paranoia that I went through using drugs and
you are so brave. That was one I didn't cross, but God, wow. I mean, who doesn't love them? When I watch those movies, I'm rooting for Ray Liotta. I'm like, yes, Robert De Niro, get it.
But even that, it's not like, all violent all the time or anything like that. You still have,
you're still the homies.
Yeah.
Helping men. You were an alchemist then.
Yeah, I guess, right? But I mean, it's not like the movies. It's really not. Not at least not what I experienced. But like,
would know. You would know.
Yeah, it's really not. But anyways, like, there's, it's all evolution process. I mean, it really is, to where like being conscious in the moment, if that makes sense, where, hey, I've been through this. I remember how this feels, and I'm not doing this shit again. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it takes like, well, it took me specifically a lot, and I'm still learning. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm perfect or anything like that, but I definitely know a hell of a lot more than I used to know. And then I just want to help people with the knowledge that I've gained through that time. I don't want anyone to go through any of the shit that I went through. I want them to realize themselves way earlier than I did.
We want that for the collective. true starseeds and wayshowers and light workers, whatever you want to define it as, intuitive healers, medicine men, medicine women, shamans. They are the connection to the divine, the connection to the higher realms that are going to allow us to jump those timelines and break those generational curses and get the fudge out, get the funk out of our own way, and literally ride that horse. Stop trying to fix the broken horse. Just ride that.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, just go. And that's it. Like, and just going is like just trusting, right? That it's all going to be as it should be, you know, because no matter what the hell happens, you're always going to learn from it.
Right.
You know,
hopefully you don't break anything, break your tailbone.
Right. Hopefully not. Or somebody else in the process or whatever, you know. But even in that, where, you know, soul contracts and stuff, where you have a purpose in someone's life and it's for a moment, and maybe you did something or they did something to you, but it's all a learning process. You know, it's all.
That's the thing. I was watching, and I mentioned it to you, and a little plug about that new episode that I love, that I totally binge watched, which is the Gift on Netflix.
Okay.
I so love that. Not The Gift with Jason Bateman. That's like a darker film. It's a really beautiful series of a woman that goes on a spiritual journey. She's an artist, and she's drawing these symbols, and she doesn't know where she's channeling them from. Well, it turns out that they happen to be from the oldest archaeological site, which is in Turkey. It's called Göbekli Tepe. Okay. Göbekli Tepe. And so she finds out that there's something that's going on there, sees it in the news, and notices the symbols that she's been selling at this like fine, art gallery. She's like zinging all these, $20,000 paintings with these huge symbols that are literally on these caves that are the most ancient writings. And so she hooks up with this archaeologist who's at the dig, which, by the way, I wanted to be an archaeologist when I was a kid. I didn't know what they were doing, but I felt like I wanted to be digging in the dirt and finding out the mysteries and supernatural and understanding the. And we talked about that you were really into the curses. I studied, some of the African art too, and
or just curses overall, but mainly Egypt, like with why, the archaeologists and the, all those people what happened to them after,
Yeah.
And it
there was a lot of
tragic and terrible, and I don't necessarily, well, I do know that stuff exists, but I also believe that it's preventable and you can deal with it. You know what I mean? I have my own experience. I talked about it on my second or third episode here on my podcast. Wasn't a curse, but it was definitely an attachment that I had, that was trying to bring me down. It was very powerful, That's
kind of like that is, I believe, because you have to really, that's why when I'm doing divination and I'm working with clients on the app and I'm utilizing pendulum, utilizing my higher guides and channeling, I ground out meditation. I protect us. I create a sacred circle. I prepare the space. I prepare myself. I prepare my vessel, my temple. And I've learned more and more how to protect and ground. And also, I have a big soul team. We all do, and I think I'm pretty, from what I've understood more and more, that I'm pretty loved up there. So for what I'm doing, and that it's pretty fierce because I have seen things happen to people that have messed with me. And even though I didn't want anybody to have, I would never wish that on anybody. I don't have to do anything. You'll see. I don't want that for you.
But I actually have similar things that have happened to people that have messed with me. And actually, you're coming from your lower self in my past, and I was a mechanic for 20 years.
Yeah.
And basically, it was just like the way.
That's you out.
Huh?
Got you out.
Yeah.
Fast tracking.
Yeah. But there were these, basically bullies,
Yes.
In that process that were just like these super masculine, where they were at in their life, and I was at where I was at in my life, and I literally prayed to God because I just wanted them out of the way. I just said, God, just please remove them from this scene, like remove them from my life,
That's
and
I,
it happened three different, huh?
that's what you actually get to do. You have to ask, because that's the biggest, strongest force is free will.
Yeah.
Even angels.
Yeah, and all three of them within a year got cancer. Two of them actually died, and one of them can't work anymore.
Crazy.
I know, right? And
Nothing.
I'm not gonna sit here and say like that I did that or whatever, but like in that moment, like I fucking hated these people,
Well, they did themselves, and there was an unactualized aspect of themselves that they saw in you and that frightened them. And some of the people are not making the grade and the cut anymore. And we can love them additionally at a distance and forgive them. I tell a lot of my clients.
Oh, I do. I definitely forgive them. Yeah.
And I went at him. I said, no, just, you don't have to do anything. The universe, if
They'll
you're
take care of it. Yeah.
They're gonna make sure you have that path cleared. I've seen them take away family members. I've seen betrayals. I've had experiences with my own family and loved ones and things, and lovers betray me, and they are off my path. And I love them unconditionally every day. I send them love and healing, and I know that they have to walk their path and they have to have their karma, and you cannot save anyone from their own circumstances.
That's right.
And I female clients especially, they want a mother, they want to nurture, they want to rescue. Well, do you want to be with a boy or a man? I mean, let him be a boy on his own, and if you want to be a little girl forever, then be a little boy and a little girl, and you're going to see all that happen over and over again. You're just going to laugh at it and say, how stupid are we? Or you're going to say, you know what, I'm evolving into my queendom, my womanhood. I'm still a little, my inner child wants to play with you, but in order for my inner child to want to play with you and to be vulnerable, I need to feel safe as a woman.
Yes.
I need to feel womanhood. And that's when the magic is on.
Yes. But the man has to be similar as well. Like has to be good on his own, has to be evolved and everything, and not just not looking for the parent, not looking for a mother, right?
And now we learn that we can mother ourselves. Now we learn that we can father. We learn we can romance ourselves, make love to yourself. If you can make love to your shadows and you can make love to yourself, then if you can marry yourself, you can marry somebody else. But if you can't do that, you have no business being in any kind of bound contract with anybody, because or if you're not going to be evolving together.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to be letting each other down. It's going to be war rather than love. It's the antithesis of why you even got in it. So it's counterintuitive.
Yes. Like even in like marriages, I was in a marriage where it's just like, but you get into it young, you have no idea what the hell you're doing, then you're growing together. Well, you're growing up together, changing into different people, right?
Growing up. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like, okay. And then eventually it's like, I don't even know who the fuck I am without this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then throughout that learning process, like I'm, involved in all these other things and still figuring out who I am, still figuring out a whole bunch of stuff, and maybe not doing having a child, doing all that stuff. And so many people are, and it's scary. It's really scary because the unknown of moving on from that, you're afraid of how you're going to affect your child. You're afraid of like what the hell is going to happen after you leave that person or whatever. But actually the greatest thing you can ever fucking do is leave that person so that they can find themselves and you can find yourself, and your child will actually be happy because there's no turmoil there.
I tell people all the time, well, oh no, I don't want to leave because of the children. Well, children are so smart, first of all, and they're going to know when you're staying in something that is toxic and unhealthy for the sake of them, and it's hurtful to them because that's not what they want for you. They want to see their parents apart or together. They just want to see you. Yes. So when, they're saying, oh, I can't leave because, of my son or my daughter, it's like children know. And I tell people, when you heal yourself, you heal your ancestors in heaven. They're literally dancing in heaven for you, like, oh, he's doing it, he's doing it. And you heal your ancestors and their children to come. You break the generational curse, and it's DNA. And DNA starts with energy.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Right? So you know that.
Yeah. And also like the conscious process of changing yourself, right? And not being the same person that you were, and not doing the same old shit, you know, because change doesn't happen overnight. It can, you know, if you make the conscious decision, but you got to do the work to actually evolve and keep going in it.
You can make, then you got to integrate it, which your body, we're all going through right now, and you might get an aha moment, and then you might do the same old cycle, because it takes a bit to integrate. The body's actually in the work of integrating, like it's soaking in cellularly, and it takes a little while to be able to activate it. And I about that today. I was thinking about quantum healing, you know, breaking generational curses, jumping timelines, thinking about grooves, on a record, and how they're all ingrained. And if you change those grooves, you change the whole dance, you change the whole music of your life, you change the whole rhythm. And that's the hardest thing to do, because we are obviously creatures of habit, and we get into that and we fall prey to that. We're sort of afraid sometimes to get out of our comfort zone, and we like the same things. We're creatures of habit, humans.
Of course.
So pushing ourselves beyond, and trusting, and free falling, and being around people that, you know, offer a big EQ for us, emotional quotient, and a big container, if you will, a big safe space for us. Like, I need a lot of room personally. I need I need to like fall and like pick myself up back. I you know how many times I have fallen and picked myself back up, and the things that I've learned the most have been when I made mistakes.
Oh my
gosh, my whole life, mistakes, made lots of them. And when I got out of my own way, I realized it was perfectly imperfect. I was no longer judging myself, so I wasn't making mistakes. It was more being in my flow. And it was like a fear of success. And it was a fear of actually people hating me and being jealous of me, because I was gifted, and people didn't understand that. And people will attack you if you have a lot of power.
You have a lot of haters, you know, just because you are being yourself, you know, like your true self, actually.
And they're not themselves, and they're afraid. So you're shining a light on them, and they're scared of that, and you become the enemy. But really, it's their own enemy, their own war that they're fighting.
Well, they don't want to reflect on themselves at all.
Right. Yeah. So they'd rather blame you, right?
Yeah, they'd rather blame you for they're upset at you for actually stepping into your self and your purpose.
You're like, I love you now. I love you now. Change. Well, it's I love you. Let's grow. You know, let's grow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hot. And that's hot and feminine. I'm not talking about the fake light. I'm talking about the real stuff. Being real, being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Not like on you know, a reality episode or something, but really actually going through some of the harder stuff and still loving yourself. And there's just it's limitless, really, you know. But starting with the self.
Oh my gosh, that's where everything. That's where everything is. Yeah, that's what
the hardest. Can't have anything outside of it. Outside of that first, right?
Correct. Well, you have to look in the mirror, and you got to be ready to change, which, you know, actually does throughout the process change your actual DNA. It's scientifically proven at this point. You know, the 13th strand or whatever the hell, you know, or can be extended now and all this stuff. Like, it's just amazing. You know, like when you overcome your fears is actually what the thing, you know.
They make them longer, like in those strands, instead of them getting torn up place, they get like smoother. And heard that.
Which actually extends life, your life.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
As well.
And I don't know about, I think it's the hottest thing and the sexiest, most interesting thing when I see an old person that's like rocking and cool.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like blown away by them. I'm like, I'm so impressed. Like, I love that because I am an old soul. So I really have always related to kind of older people.
Okay. Like,
And then when I was older, I related more to younger people.
well, that's
But
balance, right?
I'm like, you guys lost your magic. I got to go back to these kids because they got it. They're still in their magic. They're still. Yeah, I
But
used to teach camps. So
you
I
teach
taught
what? What was that?
kids camps, summer
Okay.
kids camp.
Okay.
So I got my own little, everything I've ever done, I've made up. I made up my own little kids camp, and I had this yoga studio hold it for me, and I would do kids camps. So we would do yoga, we would do art, and I would feed them like this really bomb ass delicious organic food that I would make, and they would be literally in a week. Parents were coming to me and they're like, "What are you feeding my child? And what are you doing? He's so peaceful, and I'm going to bring my neighbor's kid." And it just kind of grew from there. And then unfortunately, the yoga studio, they didn't have enough to pay after a while. Rent was too high. They couldn't afford my fees. And they tried to duplicate what I did and stole it, but they didn't have what I had.
Yeah. I think that's
No,
but it's all perfect though. Then you
because
moved on to the next thing, right?
it was me. Nice too, because at the time I had my daughters, so they could come with to work and help have a great time.
Yes.
Yeah,
And what you
yeah.
explained before too about you growing up, how you grew up with, your mother being vegan and all that, and it taught you to be vegan. And I didn't
Or
grow
like
up, huh?
she was not vegan. She was more like ovo. What is that?
What is
Plant.
it? Oh,
Uh, well, we ate turkey and fish and small amounts of a nice healthy cheese and
okay.
eggs.
Oh,
So that
well,
was it.
that's pretty much how I eat. I just don't eat turkey, But like that, it. What is it? I don't even know the term. I don't give a shit. I eat fish.
Oh,
I can't. It escapes me at the moment. You know.
pescatarian. Pescatarian.
You're cutting out at the moment, actually. Like your video.
Pes-
There you go. There you go.
Pescatarian.
Pescatarian. That is right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Um, but yeah, even through that, like helping these kids learn and showing their parents in those moments that like, oh my gosh, what you eat actually matters. What you put in your body actually matters. How you feel, it affects how you feel. It affects everything. Um, it it's everything that you do, everything you put in your body, everything that you consume, even the shit that we watch on TV or read or
Like
whatever, you know,
seven
it's
of cups. The seven of cups Scorpio card. Be careful what's in those cups. Whether what is you watch, what you eat, what you listen to, your gossip. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Even the
Careful with.
music, like even the
Oh,
music that you consume is huge.
by the way, Alexa, play Solfeggio tones.
Solfeggio tones, yes. Like even last night, I did that and I slept so well. For it was perfect last night. Because I've been recently going through some shit because I'm acknowledging things that I shouldn't
Yeah.
even be like upset about.
Yeah.
But we're all here learning, right?
Pulling up stops because it's allowing you to move into autonomy, being proud, being independent, owning your stuff, and walking your talk and talking your walk. And I always say, things are happening for you, not to you. So
Exactly.
they're just evolution. They're just exactly what you need at this now moment to be able to
Yeah.
keep going.
And I think that's
Keep going.
always the case for everyone. It's just you've just got to be able to realize it. That it's always happening for you, not to you. Even
Yeah.
even the worst case shit. Like I don't know. You have soul contracts with people, right? And maybe you were meant to lose that person in a terrible way, or this terrible thing was supposed to happen to you because for your soul to learn from, you know. And a lot of people want to try to control that and say, well, you know, that person is a terrible person and fuck them because of what they did to me or my family member or whatever. But
That's usually at first. Yeah.
huh?
I've dealt with thousands of people like that, thousands and thousands, and that's typically the initial reaction.
Of course. And
But I
then
think that goes way of buffering the soul, or the soul's way of buffering the ego, vice versa.
I think also, yeah, like the forgiveness part is the biggest thing in that, because like you're just holding on to, you know, you're hurting yourself by hating that other person, you know, for what they did. You're just holding on to it. And that's it's super low vibe. Exactly. And the easiest thing, it's not easy because it's a process. I'm not going to sit here and tell anyone that this shit is easy when someone is taken away from you or something terrible happens to you. But
the closer it is to you, it's the hardest thing that you'll ever experience.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. But it happened for a reason. You know, it happened for you to evolve, and you can it can affect your entire life, or it can propel your entire life as well. You know.
So I was listening this morning to this gentleman, and I may have sent it to you. I may not have yet, but I will. And he was from England, and he was a coach, but his particular coaching, the theme of his work was channeling. And he was making a lot of really cool connections for me about what channeling is and how to go about it, and how there's so many different ways depending on what your gifts are. Like, I know you're very Claire sentient, meaning Claire feels. Mm-hmm. And I think I remember you said, I'm not sure if you said auditory or visual. I think it was visual.
Both of them, actually. It just depends. Like, it doesn't have to be, it's whatever is in the moment. You know what I mean? It's however it comes through.
Beautiful. And so I have had to work on those parts of the called the clairs, clairaudient, clairsentient, clairomniscient,
claircognizant. Yeah. All those things.
I'm claircognizant. I have a wonderful mind to be able to catalog. I love people. So I've always super gregarious and friendly and communicative. That's one of my skills. And I do, like I said, I'm humanitarian, Aquarius, gregarious Aquarius, age of Aquarius. So I love people, and I always have been really social butterfly. So the gift of the word is what I would say, but it's also a gift of knowing. It's the Akashic records. It's knowing somebody's feeling their energy too, in a way that I can tell by the way that they show up and present themselves, what their imbalances might be and what their propensities are, and then working from their equilibrium for their soul signature, it's their soul, pulling out their soul signature. Because once we distill and figure out and pull out the soul signature, that is going to be the highlight that's going to propel them faster and move them forward onto their highest trajectory in their timeline. And that's what we want as an evolutionist. I want to see humanity evolve. I don't want to see us blow ourselves up in some, stupid, meat race because we all want to, deforest everything because we all can't stop eating cow or whatever it might be, hurting one another or getting sick or, drugs, right?
Yeah.
That's not, that didn't exist in the star realms. That doesn't exist. We know that maybe we found technology to overcome and combat certain other energies, but I think that we focus more on, yes, we can be dark empaths and know the strategies of, okay, this us versus them, but really we want to find the goodness in everyone because we want to dissolve the mask of even the one that's showing up as the enemy.
Yeah, I think even in my own story, I was definitely a dark empath in the past, and then now it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, dark empaths it's a great gift. I would always consider myself more of the light and love with Pleiades, especially. That's very much planet. So I was always very, very loving and would get in really difficult, as a healer, you're opposite polarization magnet to a narcissist. And of course, once you don't listen to the knocks on the door from spirit from that one, and you don't ignore the red flags and you fall over and over again trying to help that person takes you down, then the next level is they deliver a little sociopath on your path to see if, like, okay, did you not notice that this person has 0 F's given about you? Let's go ahead and take somebody who doesn't care about anything and would do anything and put them on your path, and they completely don't have their heart chakras activated.
Yeah.
Now, did you get the wake-up call? So we brought you a little, do you need something a little more extreme? Because I'll tell these people will talk to me as coaching, tell me these horrific stories, and I said, just stop. I don't want to hear anymore. Look at the pattern. It doesn't matter what he did, what she did, what they're going to do, what they're going to, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. You're in the victim mode.
Yep.
Stop blaming. Take accountability. There's a payoff. Stop. Change the behavior. Look at yourself. Love yourself. Set some healthy boundaries. Set some healthy boundaries. Yes. Otherwise, you're go down.
Mm-hmm. And it's miserable down there, because you didn't go ahead and
love yourself.
Love yourself. Exactly. Take care of yourself, because once you start doing that, you just let go of whatever the fuck happens, and you don't need to hold on to really anything, because whatever happens is going to happen, and it all works out if you actually let go. That's the thing. Like, spirit gives you all the things, and because you just led to that place and following your intuition instead of going against it. And, because we stay in these situations, these relationships, as you referred to, because of fear of many things, but actually fear of finding out who the fuck we really are.
That's true. That's very true. Because a lot of times we can be girl or boy interrupted in a relationship that is going to be only seeing a certain facet of our gem, when we are all holographically, 3-dimensionally, and multidimensionally, right? Yeah. Multidimensional. And like that facet, even more than that, exponentially. Yeah. But we can only really sometimes feel safe to gleam that out when we're around someone who can catch that vibe, catch that light, get that download from you. Otherwise, they're going to be like, what the heck is this person talking about? And the goal is to be the same person in 7 different places. Yes. And that's really, really hard as an alchemist and a people pleaser and a lover and a healer. That's one of the hardest things. Yeah. So what is when we cannot show up for ourselves authentically because we're so already seeing it from all sides and we're trying to protect and buffer that person's experience of us, we're not going as fast and steadfast and clipping on that sailboat down that trajectory. We're taking little cuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
A long way home. We're taking the long way home. And I always say your heart is your compass. It's your spiritual GPS. That's modern technology. If you set your GPS for Kansas and somebody says to you, oh, do you want to go to see this movie? I really want to see this movie. You have no interest in that subject whatsoever, really, like from a visceral place, not like book-minded, but just like, oh, I absolutely abhor freaking violent movies or war films, or really, it's a beautiful day. We're going to go watch something about the Holocaust. I think I'm out,
Yeah.
Then we're like, oh, well, that person's feelings are going to be hurt, so I better do it. And then so you keep making those lefts your entire life. Well, you don't end up in Kansas, or if you wanted to make it someplace, juicy like Tulum, you're ending up in Siberia or something because you never made those course corrections.
This is for yourself, from your higher self, and
it is your lower self. And I think we can deduce it. And I got that download just pretty clearly yesterday. And I was like, boo. I was like, oh my gosh, the aha is that you really only make 2 choices in every moment. One is from your higher self and one is from your lower self. Mm-hmm. And I even used the pendulum the other day. Perfect example. There was a client, I was using my little handy dandy pendulum because they were forcing me to give them this yes or no, black or white answer.
Yeah.
And they were like, and the clock is ticking and they're going, well, was it, I can't re-up here, but yes or no? And I'm going, I don't work like that. I'm not a robot. And I have this whole energy process is going to show you every multi-layer of why that's a yes or why that's a no. And Correct. Your part, your accountability in it. And this is your lower self not wanting to see. Your higher self wants to fudge and see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your higher self see.
It is. It's the vibe that you're giving off. It's what it actually all comes from subconscious belief. All of it, you know. And shit, that's everything. You know, what you believe is what is true, right?
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, especially. What did you say? You are a generator. I'm a manifest.
Yeah, I'm a
I'm
generator. Yeah.
I'm a manifesting generator. So, yeah, I'm gonna be manifesting that stuff, and also above and beyond the human design. I don't really know it that well, but I do know that that makes sense for me with the manifesting generator. That even if you're a creative person, that can trump all of that, because let's say you are a Scorpio, or let's say you're a Leo, or any kind of a water sign, you're going to be manifesting from your emotions. You better watch it, good or bad. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And air sign, I was in this state for a long time, and still I'm trying to get out of it. I researched it, and it's called Pure O. Research it. And it's a very misunderstood way that the brain works. And I thought something was wrong with me, like really bad, and I was trying to figure it out. And as a single mom, I was very, very stressed and trying to make everything perfect all the time, with a lot of not support and not very many good resources. I really had to pull to make it all beautiful and happen. And I did every day. They had an organic piece of fruit. I was with them every day. I made beautiful meals. We had beautiful memories. Stressful, but also beautiful. And the long are short, but the years are long. Anyway, I started with this kind of mantras and these thoughts and these ways that I could kind of get through the hard times, the dark times. And those are the people that survive. Mm-hmm. And would be really, really challenging. I could create a mantra. I could create a thought that was positive, that was pleasant. I could take my whole physiology when I was scared AF and put me into a happy place.
Yeah.
And I know that my mind is so powerful that I could manifest something. So I'm always watching my thoughts. And that's the pure O, is that they think that they're going to think it and it's going to happen, and they're scared. And that's how I felt.
Yeah. Well, isn't it often that you see people who talk about and, think about the negative aspect of things, that's exactly what happens?
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy.
They're so powerful, and then they become a martyr because they created it. They're upset about it.
Yeah.
But they're spending all of that chi and that energy ruminating on that. And we are becoming what we speak of and what we think. Even more now than ever, especially if you're fast tracking to be a light worker, a wayshower, or an intuitive healer. You have to take full-on freaking responsibility and accountability.
Oh yeah.
I take very seriously, because I truly know that the things that we're saying when we're channeling, it's not just we're being hijacked by spirits and they're talking through it. We're a part of it.
Yes.
It's a collaboration.
Yes, exactly.
And so we are creating it too in our own words. That's why we're sometimes befuddled by what they say, and we have to reprogram. They're saying something kind of funny. They're giving me this. I don't know what that means. And then we have to put it into our own words, but we have to understand it as well. And part of us is in on it. And part of us is co-creating, or it wouldn't have been coming to us.
Correct.
It wouldn't be for us to share with that person, because it is for us, because we can express it to that person, and that person's going to get it.
Absolutely. It's meant for them. You're channeling because you're just taking from source. Like everything is connected. We are all connected. So like your angels, ancestors, guides, spirit team, soul contractor team, however you like to refer to any of that stuff. Like, yeah, all of it, right? They're communicating to you. They're giving you it through the fun, through your crown.
Have a bias.
Huh?
We still have a bias.
Oh yeah.
Because of our soul. Okay, think of it. I just got it. Imagine yourself as an instrument. Okay. Let's say you're the old funky blues trumpet.
Okay.
That has some juice in it, has some magic.
Okay.
When it comes through you, that's going to come through. The message is going to come through with that rhythm,
yes.
with that.
Yes, that makes a whole lot of sense, right?
So it's not It's
No.
like anime.
No, it's not. Like even when I do it or you do it, it's not like that at all. It's just like you're just talking. You know what I mean? It's not like you're somebody else. Well, at least I'm not. You know, there are people who actually do, change their voice and do all that stuff, which is very true.
You change their voice, but that to me, I don't know all about that.
I don't either.
I was wanting to experiment with it today, actually, on the podcast. I was going to do a rant of a channel and see what happened, just unedited, see what was going through, because it's been a while. So I actually channeled a little and I wrote it down today, and I was like, what in the hell is that? That does not make very much sense. I'm like, I have to research every word.
Yeah.
Flex.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, now I gotta put this into my speak so that I can articulate what they're saying through me that is important for me to share, that I want to share in the way that matters to me, for us. But I want to feels good for me. I don't want to be taken over and possessed. I want to say it in a way that feels true to me.
Yes.
Say it through a way feels soulful and feels real and incorporates every single one of my lifetimes, if you will. Mm-hmm. Which that gnarly. Yeah. That's even. But I don't know. I'll read it. I don't know. It doesn't make any. So I haven't even given it myself time to digest it. But I did it on the fly. I did it really fast. So let's see. No, I'm looking at it. That's kind of cool. Okay. Bear with me. This is unedited. You are happiness in a bottle. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and beyond. 11. There's your home. It's the heart energy that is limitless. And also the Akashic realms of ether. To toy or top to toy. I don't even know what I read. It's to something for the world. I'll look at that later. From the universe, soul excursions that you so effortlessly navigate through spacelessness and timelessness. Mm-hmm. I mean, I got to pick up a few nuggets and kind of piece it together. It's pretty cryptic.
Well, spacelessness and timelessness, it's like just the other dimensions, like in all the decisions to be made, right? Because everything is happening at the same time. Like, and, every fucking little choice that we make is in the other dimension, like, and we're all given these choices and paths to take. But everything exists at the same time. Everyone can be a millionaire. Everyone can be,
I feel like that all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm there all the time and I'm like, right here.
Yeah. Everyone can be anything. It doesn't matter. Like, it's just what you put your energy into. That's what it is. And we can put our energy into multiple things. And if it's from your higher self, you're going to go towards whatever it is, that you're meant to do, meant to be doing. It's just trusting that and trusting how you actually feel in the moment, paying attention to how your body feels in environments and all of these things, like get the fuck out of here or stay here. This feels really good. Like.
Not recently. I've been like, that was something that I gathered from this woman. I went and I was reading this, watching this YouTube rather. It was this woman, and she blew my mind. She basically, I'll send it to you. Mm-hmm. Her name is like Marie Manchuria or something like that. I have to look it up. But she was on, I have it in my phone. I should have. Anyway, we can edit this out, but we can put that in maybe.
Yeah.
She was so interesting to me. This lady, she was a nurse first and foremost, and she went from the ground up in the hospitals. And she always said how she actually loved hospitals. She loved hospitals because they were really busy places where a lot of energy was coming in and going out, a lot of soul. And so she's first training experiences when they were prepping a woman and cleaning a body that had passed and getting her prepped, where she was being trained by this other this nurse, that she looked up at the ceiling and she's like, she's in the ceiling right now, and the lady's like, oh yeah, whatever, get used to it or whatever. And kind of brushed it off, and they didn't really talk too much about it. But there was this one lead head nurse that got it. They didn't talk about it, but they knew it. They could feel it, as nurses are healers and all of that, and empathic. And so she approached her and she said, yeah, I mean, I want to talk about kind of what I've been seeing a little bit here lately. Is this normal? Is anyone else talking about this? And like, suggest that you go ahead and do some hands-on. So this was a while back, because this woman's been very popular and famous and helped a lot of people for the last couple decades. And she allowed her to go into the patients, into the mainstream hospitals, and actually lay hands on people, which was a form of Reiki at that time. And saw all kinds of different things. And she said that she'd be doing her rounds, and she'd have these people floating around her all day, bugging the shite out of her, trying to get messages to their loved ones that needed a really important message.
Yeah.
And getting out with the story is, she kept ignoring it one day, and she was really, really busy, and this lady would not stop following her around. And she would see them dressed in like the full nice outfits that they would have been in that time, and could describe it, and saw them in full like our size or whatever, full size. And she said she just wouldn't stop bugging her. And so finally, the nurse, this lady, Marie, saying, God, I'm so busy that I don't even know what door her son is in. And she's bugging me all day to go give him this message. It's really imperative, and she will not leave me alone. She didn't tell anybody, but she's thinking this. And all of a sudden, she saw the door glowing, and went in the door, that she was supposed to deliver the message to the son. And the son had been drinking and was in a really bad accident because the mother had died. And she needed to tell the son, don't be sad. I'm perfect. I'm really doing well. I just don't want to see you, hurt yourself or get in any kind of accidents. You need to slow down on the drinking and stuff like that. So really, really cool stuff. But what the point is that I was going with this is, she was saying that she had this gift, and she evolved out of that, but she still likes going to the nursing homes and all that kind of stuff, just to be a part of that. And she had said that you need to be specific with your guides. She'd said that day forward, when she was learning more and more and getting all these downloads, and couldn't go to the store without Molly Joe's, son up in heaven, or whatever, or grandma or something, giving her a message and approaching her and wanting to talk to her and go up to random strangers and give them these messages, that she found out that actually you have to be very, very specific with your guides, that you actually have to set boundaries. And so she actually specifically asked her guides, please do not give me any messages or downloads unless it's an absolute dire emergency, if I'm not working.
Yes.
And I did that the other night, and I felt like all this darkness moved out of my body. After I listened to this podcast, it blew me away of a lot of the downloads that she was describing, and just the experiences that she had, and how everybody has a different experience with things. Because I am still deepening into the way that I have my downloads. I have my process. It's still going to be ever growing. I'm kind of still just remembering little parts of it.
Yeah.
I look forward to deepening with it for the rest of my life. So I'm always studying it so that I can be better for clients and for myself and for the flesh. Yeah. But when I was in my bed and I said, Spirit, guides, I don't want you coming to me and making my body hurt and making me have anxiety when I have to give these messages. I don't want you making me feel frozen with fear and feel paralyzed and feel socially awkward when I have these knowings and these downloads and things like, please, let's do it when it's a projective, gentle way that feels nice and when I'm working, unless it's an emergency. And then I passed out, but I had a completely lucid experience where I literally, you ever have those lucid experiences where I was in this room, in this bed,
But you're like kind of
in
out of your body, kind of. Yeah.
laying and that,
Yeah.
and I was there and everything looked the same. And I was pinned down to the bed and I couldn't like move.
Mm-hmm.
You had you're pinned down.
Yes. Yes. A long time ago, but yes. You know.
All of a sudden, I saw this black cat, this little squirrel type of energy, an animal, some kind of, I don't know if it was a ferret or a squirrel, something like that, really fluffy, spinning around my bed, running over me, running in circles, running in circles, running in circles. And it was like something from a horror film. And
Okay.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
And I down, and it was like it was releasing from me.
Mm.
And I walked over to these windows right here, and they had dark black curtains with gold moons and stars like a witch would have. And I opened the curtains and I opened the door, and I was like, what's up with these scratchy curtains? Those aren't my curtains. And I like opened them, like, okay, I guess they are. I opened these French doors that I have right here, and I looked down to the left of me on the ground, and there was this humongous black cat. And he just like looked over at me with all this wisdom. And I was like, maybe that's some black magic leaving my body. I don't know.
Maybe.
But I really don't want any of that stuff. I can do it enough with my light.
Yeah. You know,
I don't
cats
need.
are multi-dimensional travelers, I guess, right? So,
Yes.
like, cats are super special. I mean, I love my dog, Steve Johnson, you know, but like, cats are definitely something different. That's why they have their temperament that they have, and all those things. And actually, you know,
It's kind of like, are you in your power? I really don't want to talk to you unless you're in your
yeah,
power.
leave me alone. I'm gonna lay over here for now, you know. But
But they dog and cats are intellectual. And so a dog will come and bring you a treat because they love you, and they're all like, look what I got for you, Daddy. Look what I got.
yeah, yeah.
And cat's gonna go, here's a mouse. Learn,
Right.
learn to feed yourself. Like, you're pathetic. You need to get your shite together.
Okay. Yeah. Like I've never. Well, last time I had a cat, I was a very little kid, so I haven't even had a cat. You know, ever. I grew up with dogs, still, and have a dog now. You know, but what you were saying before too, you know, about the um how things show up with the woman in the hospital, right? And where you're at in the environment that you're in. And I've had many different experiences just based on the environment and how things come through, you know, and being bothered by souls, really, you know, and not necessarily bothered, but it does. They've literally talked to me audibly, and I'm not some fucking nutcase, you know what I mean? But they're trying to get my attention, right?
Right.
And
Right.
you know,
Point about the channeler. He was talking about how when they come in, that it shouldn't be frightening. Otherwise, it's more mental health that you got to be working on.
right, right, and it's just like, holy
But
shit.
it bothers. But if they're negative, that's one thing. But if they're just sort of distracting you, you know, you can have a conversation with them about how you want them to come in.
Correct. And so one of my, you know, things that I have done in the past and have done since this encounter, this one that I'm referring to, you know, the audible one, like in this room, actually, I was editing a podcast episode, and I'd recently learned how to psychopump, which is cross over souls, which I had done in the past, but I thought it was some like very much deeper meditation that I had to do, but it's not like that at all. Um, and I wasn't ready in the moment, and there were like 23 souls at the time that were ready to cross over. And there's this audible voice, deep male voice, said, "What gives you the right, you know, to me, to not do this, you know?" Because I feel the energy, I feel them around, I do all this stuff, but then I was like, I am not ready. There are many people that can do this. You know, go find one of them right now, and you know, set my boundary, and you know, pretty much, you know, respectfully get the fuck out of here, because like I'm not ready to do any of this at this moment. And you got to have the capacity to even do it, you know.
And so there's another thing. A lot of it is us doing our own healing work first before we start to dabble in. It's really important to learn those healthy boundaries and those healthy the mission statements, and the way that we want them to show up, and having those arrangements. And we can burn all of those old contracts the way that they were, the ones that trespass, the narcissists, and all of those. We can burn all of those. We don't have to keep moving forward with that kind of relationship and that patterning. As a matter of fact, it's our jobs we get to when we incarnate into so many possibilities being human, as opposed to the upper realms. We have so many possibilities. They say it's really exciting, even though it can be challenging here for us. It's really exciting with just the amount of possibilities that we have. So we do it, and we're so in control of everything than we really realize.
We are, and sometimes. That's why it all comes down to belief, because like, you know, in the past I would have never been like, oh, I can do this. You know what I mean? Like, this is a possibility or anything. Like, you know, it's about believing in the unseen. That's literally what everything is about, you know, because
everyone says I believe it when I see it. He says I see it when I feel it.
Yeah, I see it when I feel it, and whatever comes to me, because like that is what reality is. We create our reality from the unseen. Do you see your fucking mind? Do you see your thoughts? No, you don't. You know what I mean? Like, you create those. Everything is born from your mind. Literally everything. You know, this world is born from that. The streets, the houses, the everything. Like, everything is from the mind. So, yeah. What I'm saying is, like, whatever you believe is true and possible. So, it is literally limitless. So I would encourage everyone to dream big and go towards those things, you know, and not limit yourself to this one thing or this one job if you're being called to go be bigger for yourself. Because if you don't go do it, you're just going to regret it, and you're going to live a life that you don't want to live, you know, whatever that is for you, you know.
Yeah, whatever. A good practice, you know, I always say with clients, I always tell them what's spiritual is practical. Mm-hmm. So a good tool is journaling, which I found out this morning when I was watching this podcast, is actually channeling. It's the same.
Yeah. It's a different form of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just...
based.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So like even me, you know, when I refer to this often, but like even go through my divorce, and when I was getting my first couple of readings that I've ever gotten in my life, because I was searching and, you know, not trusting in my abilities at the time.
Yeah.
Literally.
It's always good to have a perspective. We're all here to walk each other home, I always say.
Yeah. And I wasn't skeptical of readings or anything like that. I believed in them. I never thought any ill of them, but it was just time to go get some, right? And I literally got 2 identical readings within like 3 weeks of each other. And they were both, the first things that they said, identical, was like, you have no idea how powerful you are, and who the fuck are you? Because like all these, like, we don't give readings like this. Who are you? You know, like all these, like, you know, it's all, you know, major arcana cards, and, you know, like, and all these, like, right. And the oracle cards that were coming out was just, you know, all this high level stuff. And and at the moment, I'm just like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. What do you mean? What are you talking about? That's probably 70% of my clients, but not, I mean, your readings have been powerful. Your readings have been really powerful, and you're more aware of it now. So it's kind of probably more fun for you.
Well, it's more
of a confirmation, you know.
Well, confirmation is always nice. And I think like self-validation, it's made me be able to validate myself more because of confirmation, you
know. You can't have anybody else validate you but yourself. They always say you're only here to validate your parking. Everything else is just, you don't need it, you know.
Yeah, you don't need permission from
nice. You see the synchronicities. I had a client today, as a matter of fact, she was getting a little upset, and she said, well, I know myself. I really don't need you to define me. And I said, no, what you don't understand is this is my process. And respectfully, And this is Spirit's way of saying, we're here, and we are showing you that we're here, because how else would I have thousands of cards and they'd be all lining up exactly who she is?
Right.
And Spirit's way of saying, we're here. We're here to make you feel at home, to make you feel safe, to make you remember we know you. You are loved, and we're watching you, and we're walking with you. And every time you make a mistake, we're trying to align things, but you have free will. So you got to get out of your own way and look at those entities, including the reading. The reading is a synchronistic way of Spirit saying, hi, we love you, or, your ancestors are here, or your angels are around you, or you're going to be fine, or watch out, or giving you a aha moment,
Giving you,
so.
Oh my gosh, I've had many aha moments. All of those things, right? All of those things, like validations and readings and stuff. The aha moments have definitely come, where it comes down to belief. It's belief in yourself. Like, okay, there's some people who will say getting a reading, like, oh, that's just whatever. They discount it. Okay, well, if you believe in yourself and you believe in what you're being told, and there's some changes to be made based on these readings that you're getting, and it's a consistent thing, maybe you should consider actually listening.
Yeah.
It's
like,
Spirit.
To listen, we really have some really important stuff to tell you. So you have to, you get to be more open. You get to have help. You don't have to do it all on your own.
No, the people come in as you move. The people help. The people show up and they help. As you just keep going, and you might, go off your path a little bit. But even when you go off of your path, you're going to be presented with things that put you back on your damn path. Like,
totally.
So, but you have even getting there to realize these things can be you gotta be conscious enough to realize that's what's happening, basically.
Yeah, that's my point. I was just like, hey, slow down. We're on your we're on your side. We're on your team. We're on your side. We're on your timeline. We're here to walk each other home, and we can't see our own ego. We can't see our own.
Yeah.
The ego wants to keep us stuck, and so it's essential though. The ego is important. Otherwise, if we didn't have an ego, we wouldn't be here.
Correct. That's exactly right.
We would be done. We'd be done. So we still struggle.
Would you consider like ego lower self, or would you you know what I mean?
I don't know. I'm still, the jury's still out. The jury's still out on that one for me. I'm still experimenting with that, because I've had little dances with ego death, and then I've definitely had times ego was prominent, and they served me in both different ways.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
The ego helped me actually in certain times. It's in life or death kind of situations.
Well, I think, yeah, and I think also ego, can drive you because it gives you self-value, the things that you know about yourself, the things that you are damn sure about yourself.
Yes.
Right.
That's the of who you are.
Mm-hmm. And ego death is big in the way of, truly loving, I think, right? Like unconditional love. I think that's where ego death lies, for myself at least, because I don't judge anybody for anything. I really don't give a shit what anybody's done,
Yeah.
But also on the side of ego, yeah, you have these life experiences, you've had these great things happen based on I don't know, like anybody's abilities, say looks or talents or whatever, and they got them through whatever. Well, fucking own that. You know what I mean? It's okay to be driven from certain aspects. If these are the tools that you've used, that were productive for you, well then
productive.
Yeah. Then what is wrong with that?
In this lifetime, I was listening to that same podcast with the woman that was she was could see spirits, but she was saying, and I loved it. She was saying that when you incarnate, that it used to be that we would incarnate about every 100 years. And now, probably because we're evolving so quickly, now we can incarnate within 50 years to 100 years. So a soul will wait up there for that 100 years or 50 to 100 years. And then at that time, that important, perfect, laser pinpointed, perfect time for them to come in to incarnate, they will choose again. The regrouping of the soul family will come back in and incarnate and take their assumed roles. And then you come in at that time, in that most opportune time, for you to be able to 50% overcome the negative tendencies that you're bringing with you in this lifetime, because you don't remember all of your incarnations. You're going to be blown away for a little bit. But then there's, in this lifetime, there's a cross to bear. There's a negative tendency.
Yep.
And you either overcome it, or you have samsara. The serpent eats the tail and comes back. Yes. Re-death, rebirth, death, birth, re-death, rebirth, death. And then the other one, I like that, re-death. Think about that.
Re-death. Yeah. Right.
Re-death.
That's just re-death. You going through the same old thing again. Like.
Yeah. That's maybe opposite of evolution. But and then it takes that opportune moment, and then 50% of that is, it was the doing what you absolutely love and sharing that with the world to help the world. Those, and most people, she was saying, and I concur, don't do that 100%. They're going to maybe get to 50, maybe not even that, and they'll be back and back and back and back and back.
Oh, wow.
And then of Ascended Master, where you're up there and you're orchestrating and you're moving it around for everybody else and overseeing the angels and overseeing the hierarchy and overseeing the whole grand dance, I guess.
Wow. Okay.
But
like
50% from your negative tendencies and 50% to actually actualize, like I said, with my grandmother, my mom, who weren't able to actualize it in that lifetime. I'll be dang.
Yeah.
Sure, I should say that I'm going to be actualizing it. And every time I do it, I know that it's for them. I can feel they come around. I feel my aunt just passed away. She was very much like me. She studied Egypt. She traveled to all of those places. She had relics all over her home. She was a white witch too, probably a high priestess in another life of royalty, which I feel that I was. And we were probably in another life together.
Yeah. Soul family stuff, right?
I know, looking down on me, and is really proud that I'm brave enough to be the one that's the purple sheep of the family, that's breaking the curse, that's allowing it. And I was actually told that I wasn't going to be able to come in, and there was a meeting, and it was that I was going to come in, and I was actually going to break the cycle, the generational curses.
Wow. Yeah. Did you refer to the purple sheep because purple is consciousness, like the crown?
I liked it. I thought it was prettier and more gentle, and more than black.
Well, I think like the people like myself or you, or are the black or purple sheep, the ones who like go through all the, well, not everyone's story is the same, but like go through all the stuff,
Yeah, they go through all the karma, they get all the projections, everyone's mad at them.
Oh yeah.
We're all like the whole generational like evolution of like the whole timeline. It's like they're just stuck.
And like the whole point is for them hopefully
for them too.
It is. Because even the conversations that I've had with my family members since I've been more me, since I am me now, not the same at all, it's like
talk about it now. That's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hard one. Go to the family dinners and not get in a fight and drink too much because you got to say your thing, but you can't say it. And you're like, all this work I'm doing, it's not even, I can't even talk about it. It's awful.
Yeah.
Makes you feel back down to 10 years old or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I don't come from it from a place of, I come of hate or anything like that. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know how to act if you've never been taught, so you're only going to repeat the same shit until you realize that that's not productive or whatever, like you need to make a change. So the way that I was raised, wasn't the greatest, but like it actually made me who I am, and I don't blame them for not knowing how to, take care of me or whatever.
And some level you chose it. It was the absolute perfect storm for you to come in to overcome that 50% and evolve into that next 50%.
Yeah, exactly. I chose that for them to be my parents. I chose my family members and all that stuff.
The most situation.
Yeah. And it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Even my, divorce and all those things. Like, it made me exactly who I am, and,
exactly where you are.
And it's why I am where I'm at. Exactly. Perfectly imperfect. Yes, I think everything is exactly that. Constant evolution, right? Constant evolution. I think that's key in all, and I think like releasing the preconceived thoughts or whatever that you used to think in the past, and through the changing of your DNA and the changing of your thoughts and all that stuff is the biggest part of that process, right? Where it's just like releasing, like, I thought I was this, I don't have to be any of this. And that's why people stay in their marriages, people stay in their jobs that they hate, people stay in all these things because like of their thoughts, like, like, this is how it should be. Here's my thing, like, what do you mean should? You define what should be, like,
no should. There's no shoulds.
Yeah, there is no shoulds. And actually,
an illusion.
Staying in these places, the job that you hate, the marriage that isn't good for you, the relationship that isn't good for you or whatever, is just fear. You're just holding yourself back because of your fears.
Yeah, it's fear, it's generational, it's really a cocktail of different things. There's usually a primary one that leads it, that's the payoff. So you've got to always ask somebody, hey, what's the payoff? What's the payoff? If not you, who? If not now, when? And no amount of your suffering makes the world a better place. And there's no shoulds. You can't should all over yourself. There's no actual rules. The only rule is to lean into your highest self-love, radical, rinse, repeat, and almost can't take it anymore until you have so much that you're used to giving to others that you give to yourself, especially when you're going through the healing and the dark night of the soul and you're reclaiming your soul fragments and your soul power and you're learning, remembering who you are again, and you're getting back on track, is to isolate, go to the places you want to go to, walk barefoot, take Epsom salt baths, spoil yourself until mother yourself, father yourself, romance yourself, almost until, because you're going to start to vibrate and you're going to flip all that energy, because women are magnetic and men are electric. So you have to have that polarization. You get polarization. To attraction. Yeah. And when you're vibrating at a low vibration, that's what you're going to attract. It's that trauma bond. So it's really, really important as an autonomous alchemist and as a progressive person who is evolving and not letting the system work you, but you're working the system, because we're so much water to be constantly flowing. And we're all the elements. We're water, we're fire, we're spirit. I was just doing that little routine this morning, which I think is a pagan exercise, where you say, I am earth, I am water, I am air.
Yeah.
I am fire, I am spirit,
I do it I do it a different way, but like, it's calling in the directions and the elements of, which is the same thing. It's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
but yeah, like it's however it shows up. That's the other thing too, like how you define things, right? Like you
Yeah.
get to make it up. You can make up your own all those things, right? Rituals, like whatever your dailies, right?
Reiki baths, walks in the park. I was going to talk earlier. Also, it was mentioned today by that channeler that was talking about channeling today. Um, he was mentioning the same thing that I recommend so many clients is a book by Julia Cameron called The Artist's Way, and they were referenced
That's
the
funny.
morning.
I have that. Yeah.
Of course you do. The morning purge, the daily purge of unedited 4-page purge is when you really level the funk up, because you are putting it into the 3D, which has power, and you are spelling. It's like a spell. It's divinity. And you are getting closer to what is in the mind, the chitta. It's called the chitta, the monkey mind, the mind that you purge, and then you create that beautiful, clear canvas to be that artist, that alchemist, that magician of your day, to be able to create that symphony. And it is being clear on those things that you really have those propensities and those predestinations for, and those predeterminations and predilections for. Like, I'm really into Egyptian things. When I meditate and I go, what was I in another life? The first thing that comes to you is going to be the thing that's probably true.
Right.
It's not really stretched that far. It's actually, once you give yourself this environment to do it, it's actually right there.
That's
actually.
So, Reiki readings, like I don't care what we're talking about, it is literally all the same energy, and it's trusting like what you're getting in that moment. Like I don't know, I'm very a lot of things, but like visual when it comes to Reiki. I get a lot of visions, and then when I do readings, very visual, as well. But I also get downloads during the time. But it's literally just letting go and trusting and just letting that stuff come to you, is what you're describing, and it's all the same energy, and that just leans into more of how everything is connected, like how you're feeling about this individual, or like what you're feeling from this and that and this and all your surroundings, or whatever environment you're in. But it's hard to navigate it, but it's really not once you're just in the moment and you let go and you just let the stuff happen. You just let it come to you, because we're all about the control, right? And trying to analyze every damn thing and whatever. But that's like the scientific aspect of it. But there's
reminds me of a good mushroom trip. I was going to say a good mushroom trip where my best friend and I, probably 20, got up that morning. It was a beautiful morning, and Encinitas, and said, "Oh, my friend gave me these really strong shrooms. I'm going to have a little bit of it. A little bit of this. Let's go on a walk." Literally go on a walk, and it had nothing on us. And it's like this hot day, and literally everywhere we walk on our path, people are coming right up to us with everything that we needed. Water, food, all these things, just out of the woodwork. It was like the energy was vibrating so high. It was just throwing it all in.
Yes.
Two hot young blondes on shrooms is going to bring people.
Well, you're going to get, right.
Oh, hi. Wow. Thank you. Gosh, I can't believe it. Now party. And so it reminds me of that. Is I'll like sit there and, being a single mom, I was always the one cooking and doing all the arranging and everything like that. And so I always had bags in the car where I had everything in case we were going to be gone for a day or two. And everybody's like, "God, you bring so much stuff." But I was always the one that had everything we needed, And so I have to train myself. Even now, I leave the house with 2 or 3 bags. And when I was doing my markets and my pop-up events, forget it. I could create this nirvana, this glamping, like you're out in the middle of, I was going to say Burning Man or something. You just got your own oasis out there. Anything you need, I got. I know how to glam. From doing those events. But even now, I'm like, it's so nice when you could just walk out there and you have blind faith and everything you need is provided for you.
Yeah.
And I've done that recently where I go to pack something and I'm like, they probably have some. And then I go there and everyone's like, "Oh, we have 50 of those. Which color would you like?" And it's like, Trust. It's really about trust.
It
It's really
is.
about trust. Spirit has your back, the universe has your back, and that there's a divine power and a bigger symphony going on, an orchestration that we can't see.
Yeah. And that's why the people just show up, whether you're helping them or them helping you or whatever that is,
Oh man. And then when I think you were telling me you recently started doing some readings.
Yeah.
Adding that.
Yeah. And they're going great. And that's why I can speak to it. Just letting the stuff come to you, there doesn't have to be like some, super long, grounding and all that stuff. Like I take maybe 15, 20 minutes prior to and just like do my thing, listen to my, meditation music and,
whatever in your zone, there's no rules, right?
There are no rules. I define it, right? And then I just step into it, the individual comes in and da 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 da, and it's like, huh?
Weren't you saying just like this was to that whole point of what we were just talking about? Whatever it is that you're vibrating, you totally manifest in the field, and that person will be going through the same stuff you're going through.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, the readings that I've been doing, going through the same stuff that I'm going.
The mirror.
It is.
Magnet.
Yeah.
You draw it too.
Yep.
And you're but you're helping yourself, and you're getting paid. It's
magnificent. It's incredible how it just works, and then you're being shown it. So then,
I know you're like, God, I gotta follow my own advice. Damn it.
Yeah, exactly. You're being shown it, so going back to all that. Shit, I do have to do this, and even in like myself in coaching, I'll know all the things to say, but then there's this one thing or two things like that I'll coach, and I'm like, shit, I haven't even been doing that. I haven't even been doing that myself recently, or whatever. Like
it'll get you. Yes. Yeah, that happens less and less over time though, because spirit will keep bringing you those clients, and you're like, I'm really sick of this message. Can you bring me somebody else, please? You don't say that, but subconsciously that's what you're thinking. You're thinking, God, I'm an idiot. I'm doing that same thing over and over again. So there's my reminder. And then all of a sudden you move past that. And then you have like another reflection. It's just another reflection of you.
It is. It's just another reflection. You're saying these things out loud, in the moment to have your realizations, to let those things come. You know what I mean? Because it is the things that you need to work on individually as well. Yeah, you can help. You don't have to like have it all figured out to help people. Not at all. Because you're perfectly imperfect, right? But you can still have all the greatest info to help the individual because you know what it is. Trust what the hell you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, and trust what you know as well. Basically. Yeah.
That's the cards I get a lot. It's beautiful. It says start to apply what you already know.
Mm-hmm.
Or it says you're doing it. Keep facing your true north. I memorize so many of my cards. It's funny. I'll be listening to readers, and they'll have my same decks because we're similar. The ones I gravitate towards are kind of the same themes, I think. And I'm like mouthing the words as she's saying the cards. I'm like, I know what that card looks like. I could be listening to it while I'm doing dishes. I'm like, I know what deck that's from. And I have thousands of cards, but it's been an evolution. But yeah, mine aren't in order, which is a little different. They're in a huge knapsack, a big duffel bag, and I have my nice decks that I keep separate so they don't get in the beautiful love soup. But
yeah,
just have some order, and that is what's called the law of randomness. Because I used to tell people will go, I can't believe they're not in order. What a cool reading. They're such an eclectic. And I'm like, yeah, it's your soul mosaic.
It's for you.
This is the soul.
Mm-hmm.
And not really beautiful. And when I do my one-on-ones as well, which I do, 2-hour sessions sometimes via FaceTime or Zoom, as well as I used to do those in public with my pop-ups. I won't have them in order. And it's really beautiful. Like I'll photograph them all for the clients if we're doing like a Zoom like we are now, and I'll send them to them later all lit and edited with the crystals, and they come out so artful. It's all these eclectic different decks from different themes of Isis to, you know, kings and queens and angels and gods and goddesses and flowers and all kinds of different artwork. And so it's really dimensional. It's really, really, really beautiful. It's really layered. And that's why I call it a soul session, because it's basically all the little, and people a lot of times will be like, wildcats, oh my God, that's my number. That's my mascot. That was my childhood, you know, all the time. Like, I can't make this shut up. I love you, Spirit. That's showing the client that I'm working for them, and that's real. And they cry. They cry a lot of times, and they're really happy, excited. It's tears of that there's something bigger than us that we can't understand. But the law of randomness basically states that. And I love this because people go, how can you do this? How can you find them? And I say, my kids, when they were little, I used to say, they go, Mom, where's my socks? And I'd be like, I have this thing, I call it my homing device. And I actually called it my flower, which, because of the kids, I would call a woman's, you know, vagina, her flower. So my homing device was my flower, and I could find anything. Well, guess what I use now for the cards? It's my sacral chakra and the root chakra. Find it, and it's my homing device, and probably my heart and third eye. But so powerful. But it's a very, your gut is your God. So that's why I have my stomach open a lot, because this is where a lot of the healing life force and the psychic energies come from, as you know, as a water sign, being very sacral. So I would go find the cards, and just like I found the sock in the needle in the haystack, and I could have thousands of cards in here, and the odds of me being able to choose that card that has that person's mascot plus their boyfriend's name or where they went to, whatever. It's you know, the longer the reading, the more that's going to come out. The more the cards, right? It's like a numbers game.
Right.
It's the law of randomness. And that states that when I set an intention, and my heart is also my GPS, because I want to find it for you.
Yes.
I want to find it for you. I want you to find yourself. So I'm going to find that card.
Yes.
And that's my intention. And I'm real serious about it. I seem really playful and joyous, but I'm real serious. When I find that gives you another door, that gives you another key, that gives you another tool. And sometimes it gives you belief in something other than yourself and something bigger than yourself.
Yes.
The law of randomness, just because we can't perceive that it's perfectly imperfect, seems random, but it's orchestrated on a higher divine level, just like a waterfall or a rainbow that we can't comprehend of how perfect it is.
Yeah. It is.
And
perfect.
that's how it works. And it's not like, check me out. I can guess your card. I'm a magician. I'm playing magic.
To do with that. No.
Not really like magic. It's practical magic, but it's like, I'm working for you. I'm shrouded with people working for you. You're shrouded with people working for you. We're pulling all the stops. We're pulling these, laying these out. We're showing you your soul in front of you. Do you believe now? Can you believe in something bigger than yourself that you can't, just like God, you can't conceive certain things. We can't, as human mortals, we can't perceive certain things. Our ego goes like this because we get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
We'd go crazy if we knew all of it.
We hide. Yeah. Yep. That's right. We shut ourselves off to it because it is overwhelming at times, you know.
It asks for soul calibration and temperance. We want to ask for that, especially as a Scorpio, and I'm an intense person myself. I'm not a Scorpio, I'm Aquarius, but we are thinkers. We're supposedly the geniuses. We like do the mind stuff.
Yeah. We
get the new world because we're in the Aquarius, age of Aquarius, new era. Which, by the way, Piscean era was ending, because remember in the 70s they'd say, "This is the dawning of the age
of Aquarius." Yeah.
Well, it was the dawning because it was to come, but they were kind of getting the pre-downloads of what wisdom and sympathy and understanding, brotherhood and da 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 da.
Yes.
All of those ideals, that is the humanitarian way of the gregarious humanitarian Aquarians, which also is the age of technology, which the Piscean era ruled institutions. Everything that we work in within the matrix that they created for us to be in our cubicles and our squares and our boxes is Piscean. It's law, jails, schools, drug, pharma, communities, government, streets, banks, everything is Piscean. You notice how that all is crumbling?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
And with COVID, we fast-tracked our reality to be more of the
understanding and everything, like, and accepting.
Everything was online.
Yeah.
With a forced tower for us to move quicker and expedite. That's why it seemed to happen fast and also slow at the same time, because there was so much integration and so much download, so much. And that's what a lot of us have been experiencing, is the ascension. And I'm here at this time, opportunely, in one of the most amazing times, like you are, to ever be on the planet, to be able to help souls through transition and to ascend.
Yes, exactly. Like, what a perfect time to be here. And, to actually help the people who need help. Shit, and I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't. You've helped me a lot, like, yeah.
You don't think this is helping me? I mean, you're making my dreams come true. This is what I've been talking about doing for years, has been a podcast. I know that I'm supporting like yourself. And so this is just, it's what the opposite of karma, it's dharma. Dharma is basically the unfoldment of who you are, like a flower with no ego about it. It's on your path. Karma is the flower got broken and then the flower has to like be pulled out and got to go get a new flower. Whereas this is more like the natural unfoldment without even having to let the ego getting out of our own way.
Yeah. Yes. Like, well, this has been like awesome. What a great interview and everything. Like the whole evolution of all of it. And like, do you want to, say where you can be, like, your, social media, where you can be contacted, all these things,
No shame on my plug. It can be Sunshine Seaheals. It's SUNSEAHEALS, is in healing, not as in the shoes.
Yeah.
So basically, that's where you can find me. And that is my Insta. That is my, if they're allowing TikTok anymore. And I don't use that one as much, but I don't know if they're even going to have that anymore. By the way, I got that download that China would be watching us through TikTok. Sorry, not sorry. But yeah, I saw that one coming. That in YouTube. And it's all of my followers are organic. So I have been on spiritual front lines for the past, my whole life really, but most recently in the 3D way, if you will, and beyond, doing the work for monetizing my gift, I should say, which is what I'm actually here to fast track people with as well. Yeah. As you're living proof, because within one short month and a half of meeting you, we have had your tower moment and really fast tracked you into, there's so much that you're going to be experiencing. Yeah. But yeah, you can find Heals and it's all organic followers. So feel free and look forward, hopefully, to more of stuff like this moving forward in the future.
Well, this is great. All right. Well, thanks for being here again. And, thanks for everyone for joining us. And, namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.